If you're considering a hair system and specifically a lace system, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you step by step with how I cut a new system, how I apply it. I even dyed this one. And I absolutely love a lace-based system, and I've worn pretty much every type of toupee or hair system that you can think of. So follow along and I'll show you step by step how I apply it. When you unbox your hair system, it's going to come in a bag and also a net that keeps the curls in place. And this isn't a perm, it's just to keep the hair really neat. When you take it out, you're going to flip it and you'll see there's a little writing on the bottom that says the size and the color of the hair system. Every single hair system that you buy is going to be dyed from a lighter color. They are all dyed, so they give you a uniform color for the hair. Now, what I'm showing you now is the lace front. This is the most precious part that you want to be really careful about because that's going to be shown if you're showing your hairline. So you want to make sure that you find the front and you align it with your template. So I have a separate video on how to make a template, and there's lots of them here on YouTube. So making a template is a very essential part of being a hair system DIY person. And then I pin the template to the system. I want to do it right in the middle. Now you'll notice that there is a shiny part. So this is a thin skin. So this is technically considered a hybrid, but I cut off quite a bit of the thin skin part because I want to get mostly lace, so it's super breathable. Now it's time to start marking the hair system. And I use a green or a purple or a light blue. I don't ever use black just because I don't want it to get accidentally stained with a dark color. So I like using the green, and I'm going along the sides of the template, and I'm using a Sharpie because it will stay a little bit better than something like a makeup pencil, which I've tried in the past and doesn't work great. The green just seems to be a really good color for me, and it works well, and it doesn't stain any of the hair. Once you get to the very front, you're going to want to make sure you're giving yourself a little bit of room. So align your template really well so that some of the lace is still showing without hair so that you have that wiggle room so it doesn't give you that hard front line that you see a lot of guys who wear a hair system. So you want to have a little bit of that lace showing. You don't want it to be just straight hair and then scalp. So here is the completed outline of the hair system with the template, and you're just going to remove the pins out of the template, and then it's time to cut the hair system. Make sure that you're using actual hair cutting shears. You can get some pretty inexpensive ones on Amazon. I was a hairstylist in my previous life, so I just happen to have these laying around. It's been 20 years, believe me, I do not know how to cut hair. So I will cut it down the back like this, and then you're going to rotate it, and you're going to slide the bottom of the scissors really close to the base, because what you don't want to do is cut the hair length. You just want to cut the base, and you can see that I'm sliding along the edge, and I'll take it out and I'll just keep sliding it very, very carefully so that I don't cut too much of the hair and create like a weird stubble situation. And now I'm cutting into lace, and it's a little bit more fragile, so just go slow and take your time as you're cutting this out. And this is why we want to make sure that you place your template a little bit over the front hairline so there's a tiny bit of lace in the front so you have that super realistic hairline and you don't get that blunt edge that can sometimes happen when you see people wearing toupees. That makes it look a bit unrealistic. Then you're going to discard the excess hair, and that's pretty much the last step to creating the cut in of your template and your hair system. I'm lucky that my husband is a hairstylist, so he's going to dye the root of this to match my natural hair color, so it looks like I had it dyed and I went blonde and then my hair is growing out. So I wrote back on the very inside, just so he knows which one is the front and which one is the back. This is what I'm starting with. So you can see I've got some growth on the insides. See, it's looking a little bit fuzzy and I need to shave that down before we apply. I highly recommend that you buzz down the hair versus using a razor because the razor can create ingrowns and can be just not a good situation. So just buzz down the area. My area is pretty easy to see what needs to go because not much really grows there. And that's what I based my template on. It grows in super duper sparse, but you don't want that to be stuck to the glue or the tape that you're going to be using. And then I love a 3-way mirror. This is a very essential tool for anyone that wears a hair system, especially if you are a DIY guy like me. So I'm grabbing some shampoo and I'm going to shampoo my scalp and then the sides and the back of my hair so that it's nice and squeaky clean before you put on your hair system. Now, I've gotten the hair system back from my husband who has dyed the roots darker. This is the exact same color as my hair. It's a medium cool brown root so that it looks like it's growing out of my head, which is kind of cool. In summer, I highly recommend that you use a long wearing tape to keep it on, and this Walker Ultra Hold is essential for me to make sure that it stays on. And I cut them lengthwise, and one of the things that I do is I like to put on a long strip like this, and then I will take a razor and I will cut out a little bit. You have to be very, very gentle with this. I'm sure there's a better way to do this. Maybe doing multiple strips or whatever. This is just what I do because I want to make it really easy when I'm applying it to myself and bend back that piece so that when it's on your head, it will be easier to take off the sticky tape and your fingers won't get stuck to it. Now, alcohol is really, really important for a lace system so that the tape will stick. This is a brand new system, so it hasn't been heavily conditioned. But when I reapply this, I'm always going to use alcohol on the base so that the tapes will stick. That's a very common thing that you'll hear from people that get frustrated with lace and tape is that the tape doesn't stick. So just use alcohol and that makes all the difference. Now I'm going back right now and I'm peeling off all of the edges of the tape. So it's super easy. Once I'm applying it on my head, it's going to be a lot easier to take that off and glue it down. If you have a partner or a friend or hairstylist that can do this part for you, that's a great way to go. I just like to be able to do everything myself and then run to the salon and have the actual hair cut. I like to do absolutely everything myself. I just think it's nice to be able to do it yourself. But again, you can always have a hairstylist or you can go to a salon and have them do this for you. Now I'm applying 2 more pieces to the front and bending back the paper so it's easier to remove. Now use the alcohol on your scalp to remove any oils, any shampoo, conditioner, anything that's on the top of your scalp is really important. And then I love to do a scalp protector. There's lots of different scalp protectors out there. This one has worked really well for me. I think it gives you extra hold. It helps with oiliness. It's just a really nice thing to have, and when you apply it, I think you can really tell a difference. I prefer to do the very back piece as the first anchor for the system, and the trick with this is that you're going to put it on without sticking the tape down quite yet because you want to make sure that your front hairline is exactly where you want it. So I'll put it on gently, and then I'll do my very best to find that front hairline. And I figured out, because I have that scalp micropigmentation tattoo, I like it to be about at 1/2 inch to 1 inch, right around there, below my tattoo, and right above where my first forehead wrinkle begins. And see, I've stuck it down. If you have that little gap right there, it's not going to show. Don't even worry about it. It doesn't matter. As long as the front hairline is where you want it to be, when you get your hair cut, it's going to cover up that little 1/4 inch anyways. Press it down really, really well, and then I like to flip it back. Now we are going to remove all of the tapes and start to peel this slowly down and apply the tapes. Now we're going to hold it on both sides and gently stretch it. You don't want to stretch it too much because you want it to still breathe, but just so it feels natural, and then press it down and then work your way down the hair system until you get to the very front tapes, and then you'll push those down as well. Using a barber's pencil can be a very, very helpful tool, and pinning back the hair first so you can see the front hairline, and I'll readjust that as needed. Then I'll use a pencil to mark exactly where the hair is going to land so that when I put the tapes down, the tapes will be perfectly in place and I can slowly place down the hair. This has been the best system that I've found to get the hair to work with tapes. Glue is a little bit easier because glue is completely clear and flush to the scalp. But if you are going to show your hairline and you're going to use tapes, I think it needs to be really, really close to where that front hairline is. So a barber pencil is going to be key for that. Now you can absolutely use glue in the front hairline. I've done that before, but I find in the summer the tapes come off a bit easier when you reapply it. And these mini tapes are so flush to the skin and so thin that they are just awesome. They're just really easy to work with. If the mini tapes overlap a bit, it really doesn't matter. It's just going to give you a little bit of extra hold. So don't be too precious about that. And then it's all going to be sitting inside that place that we already marked with the pencil. And then you're going to take a moment to carefully place down the front. And the reason why you want to go very careful and you want to stretch it out just a little bit is if you just stamp it down, it's going to create ripples. And I've gotten ripples many times doing this. So if you go slow and you make sure that you are stretching it very gently across the tapes, it's not hard to work with at all. Just that's going to be the best way to make sure that you don't get a weird ripply effect across the front of the lace. When it all works out, I am just super thrilled. The barber pencil comes off really easily with a little bit of alcohol and a cotton pad. So just hold down the front of your lace and use an edge. I actually folded over a larger cotton round with alcohol so that none of the little fluffies will get stuck to the tape, and remove that barber pencil. It will come off in the shower too if you miss a little bit. Luckily, this portion got recorded in the mirror, but spray down your hair system with water, and then you're going to use a brush to brush it back so that it's going to be easier, whether you're using glue or you're using tapes, to take a bandana or an elastic or something to press down that front hairline so that it really adheres well to the lace and to your scalp. This is my cute husband who is cutting my hair. He has beautiful, gorgeous, natural curly, long hair. And some of the tips that he has said that are really helpful when you are having your hair cut is make sure that your hair is really well applied to the scalp and it's not loose and you don't leave a lot of gaps, because you need to create tension when you're pulling and combing the hair up to cut it. But I have really loved this color that he created using my natural color, which is a medium cool brown, and it worked out great. So please let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Subscribe for my next video. I love getting to know all of you on TikTok and Instagram, and now on YouTube, where I plan on sharing more of these tutorials and learning as we go. I've only been doing this for about 6-7 months and I'm loving it. Thank you.